Welcome to today's deep dive, where we're looking at, well, a really fascinating historical survival strategy. I mean, imagine a company on the absolute brink of collapse, right? And the board brings in this ruthless new CEO to do a hard reset.
Right, someone to just completely clear out the toxic management.
Exactly. They lock out the competition, they fiercely protect the core product, and for you listening, our mission today is exploring how Emperor Fasilides applied that exact corporate strategy to the Ethiopian Empire in the 1630s.
He really had no choice, honestly, because he inherited this completely fractured nation.
Dramatized, really, right?
Yeah, deeply traumatized by his predecessor. I mean, his father had essentially traded the empire's ideological sovereignty for military alliances. He forced this intensely Orthodox Christian nation to convert to Roman Catholicism just to appease European Jesuit missionaries.
Which obviously sparked a horrific civil war.
It did. So upon taking power, Fasilides just immediately expels the Jesuits. He publicly burns their religious texts, the ones they call the Books of the Franks, just to secure that ideological sovereignty.
Okay, so purging the catalyst for a civil war totally makes sense. But historically, when a nation completely isolates itself and burns foreign books, it usually suffocates economically, right? You can't just cut off global ties and expect to thrive.
Well, that's the brilliance of it. Fasilides didn't actually completely isolate the empire. He practiced what we'd call asymmetric isolationism.
Oh, so like locking the front door but keeping the back window wide open.
Exactly that. He slammed the door on Europe, absolutely. But he aggressively opened windows to the Islamic world. See, the Ottoman Empire was blockading his access to the Red Sea, so he desperately needed a workaround to keep the economy afloat.
Right, he has to completely pivot the supply chain. And the sources show he sends these embassies across the Indian Ocean, right? The Mughal emperor in India and the Safavids in Persia.
Yeah, he's trading things like ivory and literally live zebras in exchange for silks and silver pocket pistols.
I love the, zebras for pistols trade. But what really fascinates me is how this massive pivot almost completely derailed in Yemen. Like, he reaches out to the Zaidi imams there, right? The political and religious leaders.
Right, he just wanted to secure a port near the booming mocha coffee trade.
But it triggers this massive geopolitical misunderstanding. The imams look at this Christian emperor suddenly courting Islamic powers, and they assume, oh, he wants to convert his entire empire to Islam.
It's a huge cultural mistranslation. The Yemeni envoys arrive, expecting to oversee a mass religious conversion.
And instead, they find this deeply entrenched Orthodox culture that just wants to negotiate coffee tariffs. So it was basically a massive diplomatic failure over a coffee trade route.
Yeah, the deal just instantly collapses. But, even with creative foreign diplomacy securing the borders, Fasilides still had a massive internal flaw to fix.
Right, his own family.
Exactly. Because the Solomonic dynasty that he belonged to, they didn't have a strict rule where the oldest son automatically inherits the throne.
So any male heir could basically claim the crown.
Any of them. Which meant every single time an emperor died, or even just looked a bit vulnerable, competing factions would rally around different royal uncles or brothers and just kick off a civil war.
And for centuries, Ethiopian emperors managed this threat by just constantly moving, right? Living in massive mobile tent cities and marching armies around to suppress rebellions.
Yeah, but Fasilides ended that entirely. He founded a permanent stone capital at Gondar.
Building the Fasil Gebi, the royal enclosure. I mean, if you look at the egg castle inside it, it's this brilliant physical projection of immovable power.
And it's such a blend of cultures, too. He used Beta Israel stonemasons, a local Ethiopian Jewish community known for incredible craftsmanship, to combine Arab domes, Hindu arches, and native architectural styles.
But a stone wall doesn't actually stop a rebellious son from raising an army against you.
No, it doesn't. Which brings us to Mount Weni. When his own son actually did rebel, Fasilides revived this ancient draconian policy.
The mountain prison.
Right. He placed his son and all potential male heirs on top of Mount Weni. It's this sheer, towering volcanic rock formation, and they stayed there for life unless they were called upon to rule.
It's basically the ultimate inescapable VIP timeout room to prevent succession crises. I mean, it functions as a geographic vault.
That's a really good way to put it.
Because if competing warlords literally cannot physically reach a royal claimant to rally behind, well, they can't start a rebellion in his name. I know it pushes the boundaries of morality, but from a purely mechanical standpoint, it's so efficient.
It surgically removes the fuel for dynastic warfare. And by removing that constant internal threat, the empire suddenly had this huge surplus of stability.
Which frees up resources.
Exactly. That is the engine behind what we call the Gondarine Renaissance. Instead of spending all their wealth on marching armies, resources flowed into art and culture.
And the sources show that art becoming very proudly Ethiopianized, right?
Oh, absolutely. You see painters depicting biblical figures, riding local mules, using native plows, and wearing traditional Gondarine clothing. It reflects a newly confident identity.
So for you listening, the big takeaway here is the power of curating boundaries. Fasilides effectively saved his culture by strictly managing what he kept out and what he let in.
Yeah, he aggressively purged European missionaries to save his nation's soul.
Wait, there's a fascinating contradiction there.
Oh, the architecture.
Yes. If you look at his iconic castles, the ultimate symbols of his authority, they prominently feature Baroque architectural accents left behind by those very same Europeans.
It's a great point. He fought them so hard, but their influence is literally built into his walls.
Which leaves you with something to really mull over today. Is it ever truly possible to completely eradicate a foreign influence from your culture? Or does the very act of fighting it permanently weave it into your own foundation? The ultimate hard reset might just leave a few lines of the old code running in the background forever.